Hi, good morning. I would like to welcome for the another session in the sensors of robotics. In the previous sensor, we have discussed about various types of sensors, right? What are the sensors, how the internet state sensors works, and how external state sensors works, and also how it makes an impact in the environment. There is a direction of physical data, and what are the different type of sensors like potentiometer, range sensors, GPS monitoring systems, and what are the important sensors we are used in the humanoid robots are also we have discussed in the previous sessions. Now we are going to discuss about the touch sensors. So it is nothing but a tactile sensors which always depends upon the impact which we created through the when touching the object. So this is depends upon the capacitance and resistance of the object. So normally the touch sensor is an electronic sensors which is used for detecting and recording our physical touch. When we press, our blood samples will be released, right? So how our BP or how our heart rate has been measured by using our touch, like an electrical disturbance. Similarly, this sensor also work based upon the detection of our physical touch. It is simply small and low cost sensors which always made to replace the mechanical switches or gates. Sorry, mechanical switches like push buttons, on or off buttons. So this, when I said how it is works, it is nothing but giving and applying a pressure on a surface, either through contact or when we touch, based upon the sensor flow. So when we see that the following figure shows the touch sensor has no flow of current when there is a normal working condition. When we make an impact through our fingers or when we disturb the flow of current, there becomes and the current to flow in a low voltage or at high voltage. This makes the touch sensors work. So it depends upon an electrical circuits and allows the current to flow through it. So this is like manual switches. It is it replaces the manual switches. As I said earlier, it is like a manual switches. It is like when we on the switch on the button, the fan works. When we switch off the button, fan does not work. It makes an electrical disturbance. So what are the key applications of touch sensors? Now we are going to see. So normally the touch sensor is commonly used in robots for enabling the basic movement and ability to detect the surroundings, and smartphones and fingerprint sensors. When we use in the smartphones, it is a fingerprint sensors and automobile industries and industrial applications. And also in kitchen applications and on or off of the knob of the tabs. There is a two type of touch sensors. One is capacitive touch sensor, another one is resistive touch sensors. So when there is a change in a capacitance, it depends upon capacitance. When we disturbs the resistance flow, so it is also resistance temperatures. This is the basic differentiations. So it normally measures, as I said earlier, the capacitance is based on electrical disturbance from a change in capacitance. This is how they are done. It normally consists of electrode films at the top of the glass panel, the conductor coated with a printed circuit within viewing outer area. So how capacity normally it is a basic definition, and how the capacity tensor sensors works. As I said earlier, this is the picture we have seen. When the when the surrounding has been coated within viewing area, the flow of current has been take place. When we press or given the force on a particular area, that which makes a capacitance change. So when the user normally applies a touch on the glass panels, then the printed circuit around the viewing area of the glass panel creates an electrical change across this surface, which always results in the decrease of the capacitance and allows the system to determine the certain output when there is a disturbance in the protective overlay. That is, it is the simplest form of a working procedure, and normally we are using multi-touch points because it is like a protective layer where wherever you have touched on the particular region, the electrical disturbance has been obtained, and it is a form and generates the output form in form of capacitance variances. So the capacitive touch sensors applications are smartphones or tablets, as I said earlier, is fingerprint sensors, is our fingerprint and auto lock changes. These are the example for that. And home applications like touch lamps, and also in automobile applications in auto start on medicals. So advantages, does not require pressure to be applied. Since it has a low voltage, it is used for that, and also it is built on glass itself, since making for significant to sensor requirements and support multi-touch forms and high responsive. The major disadvantages is abrasion. and it was reliability when it is compared with an hard environment, and we does not work with gloves or stylus, which makes an corrosion abrasives. So and when we comes to resistive, when there is a change in capacitance, we can obtain through the capacitance value. But when resistance is when the current flows, how much resistance it provides when we have impact on the object or the surface. So it consists of two conductive layers and one non-conductive separator. Unlike the capacitive transistor, it is not a multi-touch compatibility. So it is similar to the working same of that when the resistive tensor measures touch responding to the pressure applied on the surface. So as I said, the two conductive layers, one non-conductive coating, which makes the capacitance not a multi-touch process. Once the impress has been obtained, how much impression on how the current has been resistance when the flow when there is a flow, so that resistance has been calculated as an output, and it has been detected through a sensor values and gives an output value. So the basically this an examples for musical instruments like guitar, violin, and older playing equipments, as gramophones, and also touchpads. There was the major advantages is this cost effective, and it is a durable process, and also it can be used by using gloves and stylus, and it is less complex because normally we can use guitars by using a gloves to make impact and create more sounds. So this is how the resistance has been obtained, and main advantages, it is a low power consumption in compared to an capacitive sensors, and the major disadvantages is inability for multi-touch technology like capacitive sensors, and also depend on the pressure and require more pressure to apply for sensing to takes place. So that it is the difference between the two things, how it measures the change in capacitance, the being surface. Multi-touch, it is not a multi-touch, and the pressure requirement in capacitor is low, but resistor is high, and the capacity with gloves or stylus can be does not work with in capacity, but it can be done in resistors. Similarly, applications as I already mentioned is smartphones, series, and musical instruments. This is the difference between them. Then the proximity sensors are used to detect nearby objects. Range sensors are used to how much difference between the two objects or physical quantity, and the current robots gripper. These can be in just and these can be discussed in later part. And these are the reference I have watching through. Thank you for watching, and